Hello guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. On today's video we're going to draw a sphere made out of chrome. We already did a cube last week, we did a cylinder, and we was different materials. This time we're going to go with a sphere, and the cool thing is that this time I'm going to color it with pencils because I know a lot of you don't have access to markers. So with pencils, the cool thing is that as long as you understand the materials and how light reflects on different materials, it really doesn't have to be a marker, or you can use pretty much any medium. If you're a painter, if you're doing acrylics or oil, it doesn't matter. All this will apply to your techniques. So enjoy the video. So hello guys, and welcome to Chrome Camera. Chrome Camera is super cool because it's a camera that is pointing into chrome sphere, so you can see everything the chrome sees and reflects. You can see me, hi, how are you guys? And you can see how it picks up all the colors around it. If you see, you have green on the ground from the grass, you have the blue skies, you have the high contrast. So if you see where my hand is, it's like super bright, then it goes to black, and then goes to green where my hand is. You can see the colors of my skin. It picks up every color around it. So I always tell you guys, if I draw a car that is on grass, I make sure that I reflect all the green that is coming from the grass, and then the blue sky. So it's a cloudy day, so you don't get like the perfect blue even tone, but you can see the clouds and all those reflections. Now if I was going to be drawing a car, I usually set it on the ground, and the ground has a lot warmer tone. So if I go down here into the ground, you see that it's picking up this warm tones down here. It's not picking up the green from the grass. So you can see that huge difference of what the floor does to what's happening to the bottom of a car. So you go from light grays to green. So depending where you are, it makes all the difference in the world. Chrome will reflect every color, every contrast. It's a pretty cool material, and the higher the contrast that you put on it, the more chromey it's gonna look. Another thing that you will see from the chrome is the extreme highlight. So if you see right here where my hand is, I'm gonna do like an eclipse. It's the sun is shining straight into the chrome, so you can see this white highlight. That's why I would put with white wash and just leave my paper perfectly white right there. Now we're inside. This is my studio. This is some of the samples that I just did, and you can see how it's distorting everything. So the room, even though it's a square room, you see like the ceiling light right here above me, it's curved this way, and then the walls are curved this way. Everything just curves around where the chrome is, so you won't see a lot of straight lines because the chrome tends to like bend everything around it. But also, if you notice, this is almost like when they do chrome for product shots and stuff like that, where everything is more on the gray neutral zone, and it's because there's no blue skylight, there's no grass, no green, no warm tones, so everything is kind of grayish, even though there's color around me. And that's how they control like jewelry shots and product shots. They put like a very simple white studio around it, so you get like this perfect chrome balls that they just look super chromey, but there's no color to it. Okay guys, so like I said, today we're going to start with a simple sphere, just with making it chrome, not using the markers but the pencils, and then if I have time after this I will also do another sphere with the markers. So the first thing that we would do is just a simple circle, right? And then we can put the shadow on the ground if we want. And then the core that goes around the sphere, kind of like in the cylinder, is a straight line. On the sphere, it's a curved line, so it kind of follows that shape. It's almost like if it was the equator of the earth, right? So then we're gonna have our darkest core going around here. We're gonna have our hard reflections from here down, and then we're gonna have our soft reflections on the top, right? Also, well, it's been a while since I've drawn a whole pencil, so let's see how this goes. So it's going to be the same principle, almost like if I started with my light marker. So I'm going to keep my hand really light, and then it's going to get darker and darker and darker and darker towards the top. And all I'm doing right now is changing the pressure on my hand. So if you see how soft it is over here and how it gets darker as it goes to the top, And again, here I can afford to have like random reflections, kind of like with the markers. It really doesn't matter. And this is like if we were on a lake or on a river or something, this is where it would be the horizon, where the houses would be, what the darkest part of the cylinder it is. And then, as I explained on my other videos, chrome likes to like bend around the edges. So if you bend it a little bit as it gets to the edges, it will give you that chrome sensation. And super dark on my core. And then the closer I get to the edges, I make it a slightly thicker core, and the more towards the center, I make it slightly thinner. And then all this has to be a gradation. So I want it to be dark to light, because it gets lighter towards the bottom, because that's where it's picking up the light from the ground bouncing back up into the sphere. Now the cool thing about pencils that I don't get to do with markers is I can smudge them a little bit to give you a nicer, smoother transition of colors. And then we would have the shadow of a sphere, which is, the shadow of a sphere is a flat ellipse. Now the top part, I can use my finger from where my shadow is and start to get it dirty, so I can start giving it a little bit of color. So I can make it darker over here. Get my finger dirty in there and start making my core. It's not strong enough because also I'm using the Berry Thin, which is a pencil that doesn't leave too much ink. But if I switch to my Prismacolor, now I'm gonna get some very rich blacks right here. You'll see the difference. I'm still not getting it dark enough, so I'm going to use my pencil a little bit. I'm going super light, so then when I use my finger to smooth it out, you are not going to be able to see the pencil strokes. Remember, the sky has the soft transitions, and the sky has the soft transitions, and the ground has the hard reflections. And it's all about contrast. You have to have your perfect black against your whitest white. So the whitest part of my sphere has to always be right after the horizon. So this is my darkest, this is my whitest, and that change of contrast is what's going to make something shiny. And then what I wanted to do there by leaving a little bit of white space is, if I erase right there that dot, it almost looks like the sun is shining on it. And then also you will have some kind of reflection of the shadow into your sphere. Trying to get the sky to look a little darker because it needs that change of tone. And you can even, like, if you want to add a little realism to it, you can have like trees poking out, and things are not going to be tall. Like, even if it was like a super tall building, it would be something small and short like that. It wouldn't be something too big. And then as they go towards the horizon, they start curving in. Okay. Just like that, you get a chrome sphere. So that's super simple, super fast. So same as we've done on all the cubes and cylinders and all that stuff. You have your horizon, you have your ground reflections, you have your sky reflections, you have the sun, and your shadow. And that's pretty much it. You just have to, in this one, I didn't even care where the light was coming from. Well, it's kind of coming from the top because where the shadow is positioned, but since it's chrome, even if it was coming from this side or this side, it wouldn't make that much difference with chrome because it would be more of the reflection of the environment and not the way the light is hitting it. So now that was a gray and silver chrome, which was more like a chrome set up in an environment studio where it's all white, its surroundings are white. But the thing about chrome is that it picks up a lot of color. It picks up pretty much any color that is in front of it. I don't care if it's blue, orange, red, yellow, we'll pick up that color. So now let's try a sphere that it's more like on the natural environment outside, and you'll see how that chrome is going to look way more chromey, kind of like the chrome that I set up when I sketch a car. I'll show you samples right here, but this is how this would look. So we'll start with the same. We'll start with a circle. We can put the shadow to one side if we want this time. So almost like the light was coming from this side. We would have our core, so all that stays the same. But now we will work with a little bit of earth tones. And I don't even know my color palette, I guess, because it's been for it. Like, I use this guys for details and stuff on cars, but I stick mostly to my markers. So it's funny how you see the color of the pencil, like the outside color of it, but until you don't actually put it on the paper, you're not sure exactly what kind of tone it is. So again, I build my horizon. Right, this will be like the color of the earth, whatever is on the ground. And then I'm gonna build it slowly downwards. And all this is by changing the pressure I put on the pencil. I guess this one doesn't apply like with the markers where I just speed it up to leave less marker. So this is just more of how much weight you put into the pencil with your hand. And you can see how much light I'm letting bounce into the bottom of my sphere. That's why I'm actually leaving white down there. And it's very important that you understand, I guess that comes with time and practice, how not to kill the white on your paper. When you draw, you have to make sure that you leave that white space, because when you have a picture that you completely kill the white out of it, it just looks matte and dull. So you have to make sure that you respect that white space. Now I'm gonna use like a darker brown. That's kind of like a red tone to it. You can have my random reflections, I don't care. And I have like curved lines everywhere. I never put like a straight line across, just because I'll show you, but as long as the surface has some kind of curvature, I don't care if it's a sphere, a cylinder, or something like that, as long as the surface have some kind of curvature, the lines are not going to reflect straight. Even if it's a straight line, if there's curvature to the surface, that line is going to reflect curve. So that's why I never put like a perfect straight line coming down on a reflection. And I'll do a video about that. And as I told you guys before, when you're not used to something, like here I'm not very used to the pencil and white paper because I don't use it that much anymore. I'm gonna build it slowly. So I'm not gonna punch my contrast all the way to the top at first. I'm gonna do it little by little so I can always come back and adjust it. Remember that once you go too dark or something, you cannot go back, but you can always keep going darker and darker. So now I'm gonna go with the blue sky because last time I checked, most of the time the sky is blue, unless it's sunset or something like that, then it will have different colors. Actually, I'm gonna move my sun to the left because the sun is sitting on the left. And I see a lot of times you can go like with the side of your pencil to get like a smoother transition. That is kind of not working for me right now because I'm out of practice with a pencil. But so you're gonna have your sky, and same thing with the sky. As you start going higher away from the horizon, then the color of the sky starts picking up. What? I'm gonna put a little more paper underneath because I feel like I'm starting to pick up the texture from the wood below. So I'm gonna grab a different tone of blue. I'm gonna try to soften it with my finger. Because remember, I want to have like the very smooth transition on the sky and the very rough transition on the ground. And the farther away that I move from the horizon, the darker it gets. I'm just going circles around the sun so I can leave that white space. Like I say, if you kill that white space, you cannot bring it back unless you put some kind of like paint or something on it. But you have to make sure that you leave your white where the sun is and where the horizon is. And it's starting to look chromy, but it's lacking that contrast. And the thing is, chrome is very contrasty. You have to have like your whitest white and your blackest black for it to look chrome. If not, it looks some kind of like silver paint or something. So now it's time to start punching the contrast. Now that I have my sky and I have a better idea of how I want it to look, I'm gonna start punching it with the brown. Even though this is a simple exercise with a sphere, chrome is everywhere on cars. So this is gonna help you a lot when you start making wheels, rims, the chrome exhaust, all the detailing on the doorknobs, all that stuff. There's a lot of chrome that goes into car, grills. So this is a very simple exercise that later we'll do some more complex shapes. Let's see, what color is this? This is a different one. It's pretty similar to the one on the top. So this will be my shadow. So if I had the ground, like if it was grass and it's green, but then the reflections are brown, then it doesn't make sense and it doesn't look right. You have to have the same colors on the ground that is bouncing into the sphere. I'm gonna go darker, and as I go away from the edge of the shadow, from under the sphere, I'm gonna go lighter and lighter. And keep punching this contrast. I'm gonna bring my lighter color again, do some reflections there. Get a little messier. And then maybe we can reflect the shadow. Right there. And now it's time to bring the black. And black is what's gonna make it super chromy. Pretty much in chrome, until you don't add black, it's not gonna look chrome. If your chrome doesn't have black, it's just never gonna hit that high contrast that it needs. Again, I'll have it wrap around the edges because reflections tend to like to wrap around the edges. I'm gonna darken it, and I'm gonna keep my horizon towards the middle thin, and then same as with the sphere before, I'm gonna go wider and wider and wider. I'm gonna go black right under the sphere so it's where the least amount of light is hitting, and then I can also punch up the contrast of my shadow. And punch up the actual shadow. And then you feel like this is really black, but that was the black that my very thin pencil left. The very thin pencil is a pencil that is a lot harder, so it doesn't leave as much of the material down on the paper. The Prismacolor is a lot softer, so it loses its sharpness a lot faster, but it leaves a lot of material down, so you can get like really dark with it. So you will notice the difference from that black to this black. This is a lot richer black. This is super black. And you can see as soon as I started adding the black, and I can have like random reflections with the black as well, I don't care. Once I started adding this black, then it really punched up the chrome to it. And now that I punched the chrome on the bottom, that gives me the space to actually go darker with the blue, and it will look good. I think it was dark enough when I hadn't punched up the black, but once I punched up the black, I realized that my blue can get a lot stronger too. So that's what I meant by build it slowly, because then you'll start noticing where you can push the limits of the colors and the tones. I'm gonna go with my light blue. Punch it right down to the edge on that side. That's it. Chrome picks up a lot of color. Dirty there. So again, I put my name. Right? And that's like right at the edge of the shadow. So here it will be upside down. Like that. And there you go. And then you can just clean it up a little bit if possible, but this is a really quick way to make chrome. This is gonna adapt to all the parts of the cars, and I did it with pencil. Just for all of you that won't have a collection of markers and stuff like that, you can just work on grayscales with a regular school pencil, or you can have like Prismacolors and colors to punch out some of the color, or you can buy a set of markers. Either way, it doesn't matter, as long as you understand how light works and reflects. As long as you understand how light works and reflects on materials, you're gonna be able to get it done. So I hope this tutorial helps you, and thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I do new videos every week. They're all car related, but it can apply to any kind of art that you're doing, product design as well. Comments below, any questions? Thank you, and see you guys next week.